Today we are talking about SDGPal. All right, let me let you set up. Zoom is just setting up on YouTube. And I think we're here. We are live. So what I'm going to do, folks, is I'm going to turn off the sound. Right? Turn off the sound so that. All right. Okay, so I hope it's still recording because this will be important for, let's go back to the, okay, sorry folks, just doing this as one person is a little bit challenging. Let's get with the, sorry about that, sorry. There we go. All right. So here we are, we're back. I want to welcome you to another session. We're going to explain a few things about what's happening in Conscious Land, and I'm going to explain the most recent effort about Conscious Land, and that is the effort to create a bridge between planetpreneurs, Conscious Land planetpreneurs. These are young, mostly entrepreneurs who are concerned about the planet. They want their future to be bright. They want their future to be healthy. They want to have a lifestyle of health, happiness, and sustainability. And part of that can be what we call the SDGs. Now, that's not our name for it. I have actually, and I'm wearing a UNICEF shirt right now. And, this is some association. I'm not associated with the UNICEF. I'm not even really officially associated with the UN, except that for 10 years, I have been official observer at UN conferences, especially climate change conferences, throughout the world. So I have been following the SDGs since their inception. That was in 2015, the 17 goals, the global goals. I've been following them. In fact, we even brought them up Mount Everest in 2017, 2018. So we have had some very, very close relationship with the people who are working on the SDGs, not just people at the UN, people around the world. So now the SDGs are like only 5 years left. In fact, we say it's 4 years left in the opportunity to serve the world by solving the SDGs. Now, are we actually going to solve all of the SDGs? Well, I'm afraid not. I don't think we can. I think that the reality is that the first 7 of the SDGs, of course, those are ones that we must deal with. The first 7: hunger, poverty, education, and so on, and clean energy, clean water. These things are absolutely important, and we can't really move forward without addressing these issues. Those are the 17 goals. Are they all going to be served by us? Well, no. In fact, the number 8 is unlimited growth. Not possible. We can't do unlimited growth. So there's certain SDGs, certain goals that are not going to be served. But that's why we have, and they are developing now, 10 years later, we're developing what's called the SDGPal. Okay, SDGPal, like PayPal. So it's the SDGPal. Now, what is the PAL? It's a helper, right? It's a helper. Now, it's not actually designed for everybody because there's enough information out there on the SDGs after 10 years and there's only 5 years left. Well, we say 4. We say Agenda 2029. That we say 2029 is actually the deadline. So yeah, we're running out of time, but we still have some time, and that's to accomplish what we call the SDGs, the new people's SDGs, the SDGs that are now taken up by us. We've waited for governments for 10 years. We've waited for corporations for 10 years, the ESGs and all that kind of stuff. We've waited, and they haven't done it. You know, I think Antonio Guterres, was it last year or the year before? I think it was last year, said, you know, we have failed. We've only achieved maybe 15% maximum of the SDGs. And, you know, we're just so far off track. Well, that's pretty discouraging, but I don't want to discourage young people. I want young people to feel empowered, right? Because we must do this, and we have all the tools to do it. So what's the SDGPal about? Okay, well, it's an app, and it's not developed quite yet. We're in the process of developing it now, but I'll outline it for you, because it's really important to understand that all the approaches of the past have really not worked. We've had 10 years of failure. So we have to move fast. And I think it's not going to come from governments. It's not going to come from corporations. It's not going to come from sponsorship. It's not going to come from the big multinationals who are sort of in the back room. They're doing, you know, bad things, and in the front they're greenwashing. So that's not working. You know, hopefully they'll stop greenwashing and they'll start acting, and that will be great. But we have to come first. You know, the people of the earth have to take over from them, and really solve this, because it's for us and it's for our children, our children's futures particularly. So the SDGPal.com is an app that's mostly geared toward, well, there's 2 markets. One is planetpreneurs, young people. They don't have to be young, but they're mostly young people who are entrepreneurs, and they want to do things like in Conscious Land's vibe buddies, you know, vibe coding, the buddy system for vibe coding. You know, bring together all these different tools. They don't have to be a Conscious Land citizen to enjoy this, but you know, if you are a Conscious Land citizen, you have access to these things. So that's what we're doing, is we're creating an ecosystem that is a solution network. It's a solution system. We can't wait for the rest of the world to catch up. We have to create our own network civilization. We have to create our own communities in order to solve these problems. And the benefit has to come to us, right? The benefit has to come to the people who actually clean up the beaches, that actually plant the trees, who actually, you know, maintain the water systems and improve the food systems, and, you know, and reject the GMOs, and reject the water, you know, stealing the water and all that stuff. We have to get serious about protecting ourselves, protecting our communities, and protecting the earth. So what we say in Conscious Land is heal yourself, heal your community, and heal the earth. Right? That's what we're ultimately doing. But it comes first from you. So how do you heal yourself? Well, you know, many people will say, well, one thing you have to do is you got to have some money, right? You need a little bit of money in order to pay for food and your rent and stay alive, right? In this economy, you have to have money. They've set it up this way so that you can't live in a community just on the goodness that you offer and the help that you offer for free in your community. They've set it up so that that's not possible anymore. Used to be, for hundreds of thousands of years, that's how we were. But, you know, in the recent times, no, you can't do that. They've made it so that everything you have to pay. There's a restriction. There's a meter on everything. Everything. Water, food, almost air, you know, not quite yet, but let's wait and see. Let's hope not. And even money. Now they're going to meter the money. They're going to make the money that is controllable, programmable money, CBDCs. So that whole thing, I'm not for it. I don't want that to happen. So I'm not for the centralized SDGs, right? Because that's all part of a big, well, that's the conspiracy anyway. It's all part of a big plan to control humanity. That may or may not be true. I don't know. I don't have an inside picture on it. But what I do have an inside picture is 10 years of working with people who are trying to implement the SDGs. So I think that that's what we should be concentrating on, not fighting those different entities and telling them off and so on. Just ignore them. Really, they're screwing up so badly that I don't think we should be wasting our time arguing with them. Just leave them to fool around, whatever the heck they're doing, and get to work. Get to work helping heal the earth. But you got to heal yourself first, and then you can heal the community, and then the earth gets healed almost automatically. So what's the first stage? We have to become entrepreneurs ourselves. We're losing our jobs, right? We're losing our opportunity to get money from doing the work to make other people rich. So we have to go direct. We have to start to make our own businesses on our own terms and run our own things. Now, I don't want everybody to be a slave to their own business. Right now, you're probably a wage slave. If you even have a job, you're a slave to that corporation or that company. You have to go in and show up in order to get paid. And it doesn't matter how much you need to be with your family or how much you want to, learn about something new and try something different. It doesn't matter. You have to be there. So it's all part of dumbing down the population and taking all the hope and energy and ambition out of the population so that they don't, revolt against the oligarchs, against the overlords. That's the oldest game in the book, the biggest problem in the book. It's always been that way. So what we're saying is now we have the opportunity with things like vibe coding and so on. There's an enormous opportunity, not just for people who are programmers, but people who have all kinds of ideas that get together with buddies, people, friends who also have the same general direction, but maybe they have different areas of skill. So they're coming together for that. This is fantastic. This has encouraged me. I'm an old guy, and I've been doing entrepreneurship all my life and trying to solve problems, but often running up against problems with technology or inability to do some coding, and even many times that wasn't even available. The ability to do these things was not there. Now with vibe coding and different aspects of AI and all the different machines and DeepSeek and Chat GPT and so on and so forth, Perplexity and Claude and all of them, right? Which is part of what you learn. If you're interested, join us in the Vibe Buddies as a planetpreneur and as a citizen of Conscience Land. So first step, become a citizen of Conscience Land. Figure it out every way you can. I mean, we're looking for smart people, not people that only follow directions. If you want to become a citizen of Conscience Land, find out how to do it. And we'll make it as easy for you as possible in these early days, but join up. Okay, it's only $3.33 a month, right? So it's just at least get that first step going so that you're on the mailing list. Then, if you're interested, maybe become part of the Planetpreneur program. This is entrepreneurship, right? This is the journey of the Planetpreneur. Maybe you can see it here on this poster at a distance. So that's, again, from one of our seminars last year at the Hong Kong University, and it was very successful and very much fun. And I will explain that in a moment. But the main thing is get involved, right? As a citizen of Conscience Land, or at least an applying citizen of Conscience Land, as a member of the mailing list at least, try to get involved in the Planetpreneur program so that you can start to build your own future. Right? Don't be dependent on anything. Don't be dependent on government. Don't be dependent on business. Don't be dependent on even your community having electricity and water in the future. You have to understand or know people who understand where the food comes from, where the water comes from, and how the self-governance of your system, how people will govern themselves, how to make that all work, right? So that's super important, that we have to get smarter about living in our own communities and serving our own communities. In Conscious Land, we call it citizenship as a service, like the SaaS, it's citizenship as a service, not software as a service. So that's the first effort, right? Now, I'm speaking today about the what do you call it? SDGPal, right? PAL is like PayPal. It's like a help to an assistant to get the SDGs underway, and hopefully maybe a good portion of the SDGs, all the important ones, maybe not the fluffy ones, and maybe not the central globalist ones, but the important ones, first 7 and 13, 14, 15, these kind of things, we get them solved in the next 4 years. It sounds impossible, but nothing's impossible. I'm Canadian, and back in the very early days, they built the Transcontinental Railroad, the Trans-Canada Railway, in 4 years, right? And they had like donkeys and and steam engines, right? Come on, like they built it in 4 years with very rudimentary tools, right? So we can do that. We can do what we need to do in 4 years because we have a much more capacity to create and build and repair. We have much greater capacity. We have much better communication, and we can do things very quickly if we want. So let's do that. Okay, so there's 4 years. Let's get going. Not in 4 years. Let's get going right now so that we start to move forward. Now, what's this big advantage to you, and what is this SDGPal.com going to do for you? Well, our plan is that it's family offices that we are going to target, okay, in terms of the support for our program. Family offices need help because in the old days, they had, just wealth, and they were just wealth creation and keep it in the family and grow the wealth by the family continually, living off trusts and so on. Well, that's still true. But family offices have other sets of problems now. It's what's called the third generation problem, right? Where, after the founder and the children of the founder, now the children of the founder are sometimes directionless. They lack ambition, they lack skills, they even lack social skills. They even lack kind of basic human skills because they've been so privileged, they've been so pampered in their early years that they don't understand how to work with normal people. Well, in Conscious Land, for many, many years, when I used to live in mainland China, I was teaching a form of another course called Sustainetiquette, right? Sustainability etiquette. So it's not, just about how to drink your tea or which fork to use or, which way to put your plate. It's not just that. That's actually important depending on who you're eating with. But it's not that. It's when you're in business and it's a globalized world, there's a whole lot more interaction with people from different cultures, different perspectives, and different sort of wealth generation methodologies and so on. There's a whole lot more that you really should either know or what not to do. When to zip it and just listen and appreciate and accept what's being offered to you. So why I say that is because this next generation of family office people, they are in need of this kind of direction. They're in need of this kind of exposure, not because they're going to go to the Met or go to the tea parties or, not for that reason. For the reason that family offices themselves are part of an elite group, or they consider themselves elite anyway, that are really under threat. because really the way the world is going right now, it's sort of a recycling of the French Revolution. You know, there's sort of a let them eat cake attitude toward us, toward the regular population, and there is no cake to eat. You know, we don't even have bread to eat. So that's going to result in real hatred. It's going to result in real resentment and retribution. So that one of the things that keeps coming up in interviews with family offices, is the concern that we need to integrate more with our community so that the community respects us and doesn't hurt us, right? Because, you know, communities can hurt businesses like that. They can just say, I'm not buying any more from that company, from that family, from that name, from that brand, from that country. Consumers are getting smart. You know, they're starting to realize that, you know, that brands come from different places, and somebody's making a lot of money, way more than they should, out of that brand. So as soon as you know that, and you don't want to put money in the pocket, like your hard-earned money in the pocket of people who you don't actually like, and you don't really want to support their efforts and what they're doing in the world, their consumers will stop buying. So that's the one thing that scares the heck out of most businesses, and certainly families, because families have a face. That's the other factor. Corporations don't have face. They have boards and directors who you also don't know who they are, typically, and they don't have a face. Maybe the CEO is a temporary face, but they don't run the company. They just manage the company, right? They're not the owners usually. They may be shareholders, but they're not owners. So they have no face. So they have, you know, limited liability. They don't show their face because they don't want to be, you know, liable for anything. All right. Well, now you've got family offices. They have face because they're in the community. People know who they are. They may or may not know what brands they've franchised, or, you know, whatever, however they've made money. They may not know that, but they do know that they're rich, and they do know that they've got their money basically out of the community. So when their young people go into the community and show off in the wrong way, right? You know, driving fancy cars and making problems and noise and hitting people. Like when they go and do that, especially in other cultures, in other lands, in other places, this is a really big problem for these families, not only legally, in terms of reputation. So we have a solution for this in Conscience Land. Those families start to support our planetpreneurs, right? Those families start to support the planetpreneurs in what we call the SDG Hackathon. All right, so planetpreneurs are trying to create products and services and so on that are solving problems. Well, the biggest problem in the world right now, aside from maybe economic collapse, is the environment and preserving our resources, preserving our water, preserving clean air. You know, all of these things, we must preserve that, otherwise we can't live here on this planet. So that issue is really important. Now, do we need solutions to it? Absolutely we do. Is there money to be made in the solution? Sure, huge money. Is it being offered up by the big corporations? Nope, it's not. They're putting some showcase projects in front of us and saying, well, look what we're doing. But in the back room, they're still producing tons of plastic and oil and dumping it in the oceans or burning it into the sky. They're still doing that. So that's not going to save our future. But what is going to save our future is young people getting together, especially sponsored by family offices, okay? Because family offices do have money, and they do want good reputation, and they do have local knowledge for sure, and they do have young people usually in these family offices, or they like to have young people in the family offices to grow their business but they also have the need to shift their businesses, because if they stick with the old world, those family offices are going to collapse. they have to adapt with the times, and they have to adapt with current needs. So that's what's happening. The current needs of these family offices is to find young people who are ambitious, who have ideas, who want to get their products and services out into the world and make some money out of it. Perfect. And the family offices themselves, they have the need for their young people to be exposed to other young people with ambition, with discipline, with capability, with knowledge, with sustainability, right? With the knowledge of how to present their project to an audience and get that audience interested and excited about solving not only the money problem, but also solving the environmental, climatic, or social problem, right? That's what we want to have, that exchange, that young people exchanging on that. So it's really a perfect circle. This family offices support the planetpreneurs. The planetpreneurs are aided by young people from the offices. The offices also sponsor some of the, for instance, websites, domains, and so on. We have hundreds of domains in Conscience Land that are available to planetpreneurs to be made into businesses, online, offline businesses. So the family offices can be the engine behind making those domains into reality, making those services and concepts into functional money-making things. Either give them directly to the young entrepreneurs, planetpreneurs. Either just hand it over to them, or take a percentage of the money, or even absorb that young entrepreneur into the fold of that family office for support and help them grow their own family office. That's the world that we want to see. We want to see families staying together, stronger and wealthier, and helping other families get stronger and wealthier. And that happens all throughout that society. So it doesn't matter if it's Central America or South America or Africa or Europe or Middle East or Southeast Asia. It doesn't matter. Russia, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. All these units of wealth creation, these wealthy family, healthy, self-helping, helping others, helping the community. This is what we want to see, right? This is the world, the decentralized world, but governed, really governed with sustainability. There's 3 words on this poster, Journey of the Planetpreneur. Sustainability, governance, and ethics, right? So that's what we're doing in Conscience Land, is providing this platform so that there's not only a sustainable project, but it's also a self-governing project, and the ethics of the project are solid. It's ethical. And that's, again, what the family offices want. So join up, become part of a Conscience Land at whatever level you are interested, and let's get this app, this SDGPal app, distributed to these family offices around the world. If you know a family office, or you have somebody who you would like to sponsor your project, let's get this app to them. Let's have them help their own company, their own family office, with not only training their own children and their own people in Sustainacat, in how to deal with international groups, right? From the UN, from the military, from government, all levels of government, municipal, federal, national, federal and national is usually the same thing, all the different levels of government. Like, there are different rules, not really different rules, but there's sort of protocols that we can help people with, because we're experienced. We have been around the world. We've been with governments around the world. We've been with family offices around the world. We've been with rich people and poor people. We've been trying to bring them together to make families of the people of the planet. So peace, that's the peace sign. We know that that means peace. Peace plus one. One, we are all one on this planet. We are all one spirit. We have to start to work in collaboration. Even if we don't like each other, we don't like each other's religions or languages or skin colors, whatever your problem is, whatever your bigotry and bias and so on, you still live on this planet. You still need clean water. You still need clean air. You still need a pollution-free ocean and lakes and streams. You still need no GMOs in your food. You still need no plastics in your brain. All of that. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter where you're from. We are all on the same planet. We all need to clean up our act. So let's be part of the solution. Peace plus one, join the fun in Conscience Land. We are really happy to see you. Remember to join. Remember to join. That's the very minimum you can do. You can like also whatever venue you're seeing this on, if it's on YouTube or if it's Facebook, wherever you see this. Also join us, right? Add your comment. Maybe we'll find it, but ideally go to sdgx.live, go to planetpreneur.com, that's planetpreneur.com, McMaster Institute, that's McMasterInstitute.com, McMaster Institute, and Extinction Solution. That's one of the older sites. It's not the oldest. There's many old sites on the internet, but you can also go to extinctionsolution.com and just see what we're doing and see that this is a progression. This is a journey. We don't have everything set up, but we're looking for you to join with us, bring us into your world. Let's see how we can help each other, all of us, fix the problems all around the planet and be the heroes of the next century. Peace plus one, join the fun.